Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another Next Up podcast. As always, I'm excited to be back with you to bring you something. Hopefully, that will be encouraging, enlightening, edutaining, and empowering. Tonight, we're going to talk about achievable goals, goals that are achievable. And back with me co-hosting is my wife and I's good friend, Karen Purvis, who is no novice in these particular waters, who's dynamic in her own rights. Karen, how are you doing?
Thank you, Dr. E, for that wonderful introduction. I'm looking forward to our discussion tonight, and I'm excited that there are folks that are anxious to hear what we have to say tonight. So let's get it rolling.
All right, let's get it rolling. We're talking about goals that are achievable. We can do this thing, Karen. All right. Now I'm going to read something here, and we're going to get into some of those goals. No matter if your goals are geared towards improving your diet, exercising regularly, or getting more, which is very important to health, sufficient sleep, no matter which one or other goals that you have, research suggests that it's important to set goals that are both achievable and motivating at the same time. All right, I'm going to say that part again. Even research shows that it's important to set goals that are achievable. So you want to set something that is achievable. Karen, for me to set the goal of looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger in 6 months is not realistic.
Right.
And would be grossly discouraging to me. But we want to set goals that are achievable, but yet motivating at the same time. This helps us to establish clear plans of action and gives us the greatest chance of hitting these milestones that we need to hit and to celebrate in the pursuit of us achieving these goals. All right. So along the way, we want to stay motivated about what the goals are.
Yes.
All right. Let's go this way. Let's see if there's anybody who's open to communicating with us. Let me go ahead and start. I have my own personal goal for this year. I've got a variety of goals, but I've got one in particular that I'm working on, that I'm focused on, and I've committed myself to basically on a daily basis, because I want to get better. And this is what this podcast tonight is all about in particular. When it comes down to talking about achievable goals, we want to get better. We want to get better in this number one wealth of ours, which is our health. So I have my own personal goal. Karen, do you have a personal goal?
I certainly do have a personal goal. My thing is I need to walk my talk, and that means that I have to be very focused on my eating patterns, what I eat, and how you look. Absolutely. I also want to do some things like sharing recipes for people who just don't know how to shift from what's going on today with our food to eating whole foods and being healthy. So that's my real goal, is to walk that line and walk it straight.
Oh, wow. 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 So what do you do? And then I'll share mine. So what are you doing to reach that goal, to walk that talk? So give us one or two things that you're doing to make that happen.
Well, the body talks to you. It really does. And I try to listen to it. I try to listen to it and understand and even ask questions. What's going on? Why are you feeling this way? And then, I make sure that I know what I want to eat when I get up in the morning. And I don't really eat in the morning. I do a little fasting before I eat. I don't want to fill my body with a whole lot of food that is trying to digest throughout the evening. But the main thing I do is drink a glass of water, because during the evening, your body's using up a lot of water, because that's when your body heals. So I, replenish my body with some water just so I can, start the engine going. And then I think really closely or deeply about what am I going to put in my body in the morning, and I usually try to do fruit. So keeping myself focused and keeping myself in line, that's the first thing I do when I get up. Drink some water and eat some fruit more than something heavy.
Gotcha. Oh, that's good. That's good because it's during those morning hours in particular that the body is ready to excrete what was put in it the day before.
Exactly.
Just cramming it and packing it with steak and this and that early in the morning kind of hinders the process, the cleansing process of the body.
Absolutely.
That's a good one. So it sounds like you're being more deliberate in being conscientious of making the thing happen to where, as you said, your goal is to live what you talk.
Absolutely. So I can share that with others. That's what I do. I share a lot.
Gotcha. Well, my goal is one of my physical goals. I'm working on my six pack.
Well, there you go.
At my age, in my mid 60s this year, I'm working on a six pack, you all. You know, I told Bob Sapp. Bob Sapp played in the movie The Longest Yard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember that movie, but he was the big, tall, black guy, the bald-headed guy. I told Bob recently, I said, Bob, now I don't look like Bob. I said, Bob, I'm coming after the image that you have. He's a mixed martial arts fighter.
Mm.
He played in the NFL for about 4 or 5 years. And I told Bob, because we're talking on some stuff to work on together. I said, Bob, I'm coming after your image. I'm not there yet in my physical, but in my mind, I am. All right. And I'm convinced we got to see what we want.
Mm-hmm.
That is very important. Taking the time to see that thing. We're taught visualization and we were taught visualization and meditation. And of course, athletes are still taught that stuff today. And I'm sure movie stars and singers and so forth are taught the same principle of visualization. So I have this visualization in my mind of developing the six pack. And I'm working on it. I used to really didn't like the sit-up stuff, the stuff that worked the midsection. I do the push-ups and the jumping jacks and the walking and all of that. But now I'm getting comfortable with what was uncomfortable to me, and that was working that midsection area. And so now I have about 4 to 6 exercises that are helping me day by day as I work my work, helping me to develop that. So I'm getting there. It takes a little while. When you get past 16 and 17, it takes a little while, but I'm working to get there. So we're going to get into some of these goals, Karen, that they are achievable.
Mm-hmm.
And those of you that are listening right now that are on with us and those that will be listening later on, let me see if anybody else is trying to get in. I think I'm good up to this particular point. So we want to encourage you that what we're going to share, they are achievable. The first one, Karen, is we believe is achievable, eating more whole foods.
Yes, that's so important.
And less processed ones. You were alluding to that a few moments ago. You want to share something down that line?
Absolutely, because we have to somewhat go down to basics. We understand who our creator is and what he created for us. And he created simplicity in foods, but he gave us the natural foods from the earth, from the trees, things that grow from the earth, from the ground. And we have to think about what the purpose is in eating those foods. Well, the purpose is to give us the minerals and vitamins that our body thrives on. And once we go away from that, the body doesn't recognize all the other things that we're eating to substitute that, or foods that aren't grown in good soil, or foods that have tons of pesticides. We have to get back to the whole natural foods that God created for us.
Yeah, I like that you bringing that out because those foods in their holistic state,
Right.
untampered with, they are full of the nutrients that we need.
Yes.
As long as they're not tampered with. 60% of the average American diet is made up of ultra processed foods. Percent.
And ultra. Oh my goodness.
Ultra, not just processed,
right,
but ultra processed. Years ago, I mentioned this on one of our shows. This gentleman, he was 28, and he had about 6 different major diseases, from heart disease, diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure. But while I was doing my consultation with him, he ended up having to throw out of his apartment 60% of what he had in his cabinet.
My goodness.
Because I showed him, Karen, I'm like, look, dude, this is what's harming you.
Yes.
This is what's hurting you. He ended up throwing away 60% because I took the time to take him through the labels to help him understand what he was eating. Scripture says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Amen.
You're not going to have understanding unless you have knowledge about what you need to understand.
There you go. No matter how confusing it sounds, you can pick through that and get it, you know?
Come on, I'm telling you. Let me let someone else in. Let's see, in the waiting room here. Here we go. So he ended up having to throw away 60%. How did he get to a diet loaded with all of that stuff? Well, he's been like the rest of us, brainwashed into what they want us to buy.
Right.
Versus what's necessary for the body.
Right.
So 60%, Karen. So what we have to do is upgrade our products. We're talking about these getting back to more whole foods and fewer processed foods. Again, this is a goal that all of us can accomplish. This is
absolutely
a goal. Switch.
Switch up.
It's a matter of switching. Now, Karen and I are here to educate us about what we're really putting in so we can be very discreet in the decision that we make so we can switch. And I've seen people, Karen, who say, well, I've been raised up on this since I was knee-high to a duck, but some of this stuff you got to get off of.
You really do. And there are substitutions for what you are used to using to what you should go to. For instance, if you use white flour to do most of your baking, there's nothing in white flour. There's no nutrients whatsoever. They've taken everything out of it just so the food can come out real nice and easy like you would like to eat it. But there are all kinds of foods that are whole foods like almond flour,
yes,
cauliflower flour, rice flour, all kinds of flours that you can use. It may come out a little differently, your food that you're trying to make, but it's healthier for you. So switcherooing is what I do. I switch up a lot of stuff just so I can get the whole food component in my system.
Yes. I read something years ago that said that white flour was it works like glue in the system.
That's
like glue. It works like glue carried in the system. I have someone else trying to get on, I think, there. So yeah, you want to make that switch back to whole food products and stay away from all this processed, ultra-processed foods. So we can upgrade from products like sugary beverages, refined grains, poor quality vegetable oils, and processed meats to eating more vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and grass-fed meat if you're eating meat, beans, and fish.
Yes.
So we're just giving you something right there where you can transition from.
Yes.
One thing we can't afford to do. We can't afford to find out what is the better thing to do and not do it. Because the reality is all of that white flour, processed meats, that stuff builds up in the system. And by the way, it's like the longer you stay on it, it's harder to break the habit.
So, and they do say that it's not so much what you put in sometimes, it's what you get out. Because a lot of times those type of foods don't exit your body if you're not eliminating properly. And they sit there over years and years and build up in the system, go through your bloodstream and continue to hurt you in terms of colds and flus and viruses and all those type of things. And the longer they stay in your body, that's when disease develops and it gets worse.
Yes, and that is a major key right there. The longer they stay in. Wow. I mean, they were just not designed for the body, number one. So if they were not designed for the body, then one of the things that's going to happen is they're going to stay in longer. And the longer they stay in, they create this clogging approach.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Go ahead, Karen.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, they clog. I'm agreeing with you. And detoxing is crucial. Most of us don't know how to do it. There's a difference between detoxing and cleansing your system, but the detox is the crucial one. And if you're not eliminating properly, you need to deal with that, because that's essentially supposed to be natural for us, but we have to use other methodologies to get this stuff out of us.
Yeah, it should not be.
No.
That we eat 3 meals a day, but yet only have one bowel movement.
Right.
That should not be. That's a problem.
And sometimes that's maybe once a week. So for some people, they don't even go, and you should go every day. Just like when dogs eat, they have to go and eliminate. We need to do the same thing to get and we're eating worse than animals, but a lot of animals are getting sick now because of the food they're eating.
Yeah, because they're eating our foods.
Yes.
Go ahead. Yeah. I need to send the link to this other person who's trying to get in while you keep chatting, if you don't mind.
Okay. So, like I said, detoxing is very important. Yes. It's almost like a car filter. In your car, you have to change the filter because it becomes clogged up with debris and dirt and all kinds of stuff. That's like detoxing your car by putting a new filter in. Yes. We don't have filters, but when your body can't get certain things out, you have to do what God naturally gave you to do, is to eliminate and release all of that. So detoxing that's the natural way, but we have to use other ways to detox, to clean our body out. That is so important.
Oh, so true, so true. I see a hand here. Thomas, come on in. Give us your question.
Hello. Okay. Here I go. I was missing the action for a minute. I thought, something was wrong. Yes, I got a question for the young lady, Miss Karen.
Yes, sir.
First, I want to say how are you, and thank you for reaching out to me. Absolutely. I do apologize I didn't reach back out. I just been, with my health condition up and down. Blood pressure is just it's with me. It goes up. I'm not doing nothing. I'm laying in the bed and my blood pressure is up to 179 to 125. I'm like, what's going on? So trying to get that under control. I'm taking medicine, but I think I need something at night. That's not my question. And sorry to tell you what's going on with me. But my question to you, when you speak about detox, is there an order in detox? Like, what should you detox first? Is it your stomach? Is it your blood? Is it your liver, your kidney? What should we detox first?
Well, I don't know about the hierarchy of what's first. I just do know that detoxing, goes in the gut, of course. And what it does is it attracts different things in there, different bacteria to eliminate through your body. So when you say, what do you do first? Are you talking about a procedure where you can do your blood and a procedure where you can do different parts of your body?
Well, I hear, people say that, you detox your blood, then you got to detox your kidneys or your liver. And then you got to detox your stomach, your whatever's going on in your intestines. So should we detox our stomach first before the kidney? Because I think, isn't it different detoxing when I detox my kidney than detoxing my
Yeah, I see where he's coming from. Well, let me say it like this: in our world, the naturopathic world in particular, life and death, or good health, bad health, energy or no energy, starts in the colon.
Yeah.
Okay. Because everything goes into the colon area first for the breaking down and the distributing of the nutrients and stuff like that. So if I'm gonna think priority, I gotta get stuff moving from here. Because if it's not moving from here, then I can just about forget about the liver and the kidneys and stuff like that. I got to get this train of stuff that's stuff oftentimes like a cargo train loaded. I got to get stuff moving out of here. Because if I can get it moving here, I can probably uncap what's happening in my kidneys, my liver, so forth and so on.
Yes.
So we could say it like this: I gotta have those bowel movements.
So you saying just bowel movement is good enough than taking something that's already in us to flush it out?
No,
Or
the bowel movement, I would say, would be base number one, and then we can target some of those other bases, like the liver and the kidneys and all that stuff to detox them. But if stuff are not moving properly from those bowels, then we're not even going to get to the kidneys
right.
or the liver focus. Now, all of them are necessary depending on where that person is health-wise. But I would say, yeah, we want to start with got to keep stuff moving out of the intestinal tract. Fruit, go ahead, Karen.
Now, and food can do that. Whole foods can do that. Like I do a heavy metal detox, and it's just with food, but it's with some of the food is superfoods, like foods that you don't normally hear about, like spirulina and barley grass juice powder and things like that you don't normally eat. But what it does, and there's another herb that does it too, but what it does, it attaches itself to some of the bacteria that's in your gut and helps it to come out. So Dr. Ellison is right when he talks about starting with the gut, because that's where everything starts. And if you can clean that out properly, then your other organs won't have to receive the byproduct of the bacteria that's created in there.
Right. Okay. So the bacteria that's in there is sitting there and is going other places because it's not coming out through,
That's right.
That's it.
Right.
That's it goes through your blood too, and that's the worst place that it needs to go, because that circulates all through your body, of course, right?
That's so true. That is major.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, some of us, it's kind of almost like we're already in this stage that we need our blood detox. So should we, I understand the gut. So what do we do about the blood detox? Even though now we detox in our stomach and we getting the stuff that's sitting in there now, what about the stuff that's already bypassed and already went to your blood, went to your kidneys?
Yeah, well, we're going to probably have to move on from that one, and because some of what you're sharing is really consultational talk.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
It's more complex than that, and I agree with you. But you're right about that, because there are people that are at that stage to where, wait a minute, it's going to take more than just base number one. We got to take them to base number two. So after we've gotten the bowel movements going, then we got to go and put another focus on another area, because the longer we stayed in that condition, it began to affect other organs and systems. So you're so correct in that, but that really gets over into a consultation. That's some of what I had to do with that young gentleman about 15 years ago, 28 years of age, about 400 pounds, and he had 4 to 6 major problems. Thank God he was living out in a compound with other folks, because he didn't need to be by himself. So, but what you're bringing up is very, very serious. And this is why we want to avoid as much as possible food items like the white flour products that Karen was mentioning, so that we can have a steady flow. I used to didn't have it like that. I mean, now I get up and I'll have 2, 3 bowel movements from the time I get up around 6:30 to 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 and 3 of them. But if you study my regimented approach, my wife said you're just so regimented about it, but I'm conscious. And I'm like, if I don't do it, then I'm going to get clogged. I'm not going to feel good. And a whole lot of things begin to back up, abscesses, creating abscesses to nausea, headaches, long list of things. So number one is eat more whole foods and fewer to zero processed ones.
Yes.
Number two, here's a big one. Here's a big one right here, and it's an achievable goal. You all were talking about goals that are achievable. Number two is cook more at home.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a big one, Karen.
That's a huge one. I mean, it takes time. It takes time, and it takes a lot of thinking, and it takes a lot of knowing what to purchase. But when you cook your own food, you know what's going in it. We have to admit, when we eat out a lot, we're not in the kitchen. We're not in their kitchen. We don't know what's going in their food. We don't know what may be going on the floor before it even gets on your plate. We don't know. So you're trusting the unknown. And in this day and age, with food being so tainted anyway, with chemicals and byproducts and all kinds of stuff, we're taking a chance every time we go out to eat because we're not in control. And when you're not in control, you don't know what's going in your system. And then when something comes along, you're wondering, what is this? And it doesn't have to be in the form of a food poisoning or anything, but your body just doesn't feel right, or you don't have any energy, or you feel sluggish, or you got a headache. Food can create all that kind of stuff because it's going all over, everywhere, and it's traveling. So yes, absolutely, you got to start cooking at home.
Yeah, I can't emphasize that more. I mean, because we all times get anesthetized really what they're really doing with the food and what kind of oils or chemicals that they're cooking this stuff in. Now,
Right.
I might eat out every 600 years.
Okay.
I'm speaking from, guys, I'm speaking from the monsters. You know how those guys will say, yeah, 600 years ago.
Yeah,
That shows you how rare that I eat out if it's every 600 years. I don't even live that long. But you get my point that, you know, and when I do eat out, I've already done some investigation on that restaurant before I go into it because I want to know. I mean, when I used to haven't been out, I can't remember the last time I have been out. But when I was going out, I would ask the waiter, is this fish, is it farm raised or is it wild caught?
Absolutely.
And they would look at me like, huh?
I know.
And then they would go ask the manager, and I know what they were saying behind my back when they would go to the manager.
Okay.
They're not out there asking about how this fish was raised. We don't usually get these kind of questions.
You don't. People
This
just
guy
get
is asking all these questions, and then he wants to add this to that that is not even inside the menu. He's creating a different menu. Yeah, because I mean, I want to know.
You should know.
Right, you should. Are you lucky to say the fish was raised by their mama? Then what you do?
Then what you do?
You don't get it.
Get up and leave the restaurant and go back home and fix my food.
Okay. But you know, even in the restaurant, yeah, you should grill them and you should tell them exactly what you want to eat. Like I had to go out with a group and oh, it's a good restaurant, everybody's saying. I'm agreeing that it probably is. But I scanned that menu and I saw a bowl with vegetables and different things like that, but it had chicken in it. And I said, I don't want the chicken, take it out. And I had to just keep asking questions about even the vegetables and what's with those vegetables. There was some white rice. Well, do you have any brown rice? Things like that. And sometimes they'll accommodate you. They want your business. Yeah. So you got to ask questions and tell them what you want. And you dare them to give it to you.
And you have to be careful because some of them will come up to you, you know, and I get it. You know, they're working, they're trying to make money.
Yeah.
And they'll have the menu. But you know what? Right here on the menu, this is my favorite one. I'm not concerned about your favorite food. I'm concerned about me. I'm the one. Tell them I don't be rude to them. Hey, but they come up like, yeah, Mr. Ellison, yeah, this is my favorite one right here, and it's good. What is your definition of good?
Hey, they don't know. However it tastes, that's the definition.
That's their definition.
Not what's in it. It's how it tastes.
But the thing you said, it tickled me. Yeah, this is my favorite one. You're not the one paying for it. Neither am I the one eating it. I'm the one paying, and I'm the one eating, and I want what I want.
There you go. And that's the bottom line.
Come on. Number 3 is replace unhealthy snacks with better alternatives. Let's say like in the beverage area. Instead of that soda that's loaded with 12 teaspoons of sugar that we decree as diabetes in a can.
Oh my gosh.
Because you talk about something that will throw your blood sugar level off. I used to do it. I used to bring those things home, those 6 to 4 ounce Pepsis and Mountain Dews and all that stuff, and had no consciousness about how much sugar was in those things. And so, yeah, we have to practice better alternatives. I make my own drink.
There you go.
I make my own. If I go to the restaurant and I find they don't have You know what I like, which usually they don't. I'll take my own stevia in there, organic stevia, and could you bring me about 6 pieces of lemon, please?
Make
And
your own lemon juice, right?
exactly, and then they look at me like,
Lemonade.
particularly if I go in there and say, look, all I want is a cup of hot water. And they look at me, that weird look like, who just wants a cup of hot water? Well, they
Right.
don't. I've got a tea in my coat pocket or in my sleeve or in
Do
my
you?
pocket.
Okay.
I've got a sweet and spicy tea or chamomile tea. So
Okay.
all I need is your water. I don't need anything else. But I know they be tripping out when I say, oh, the only thing I want for beverage is a cup of hot water.
Yeah, that kind of trips them out a little bit. Yeah.
Could you just give me 6 pieces of lemon? And do you have some honey? We got some honey. We got some lemon too. What are you gonna do with it? I'm gonna make me some honey lemonade.
There you go.
You know. So my point is thinking creatively, replacing even those beverages and even snacks too. And a good way to do that is what Karen mentioned that I had it too. And that is, what was that app again, Karen? That app?
Yuka, Yuka for cosmetics and food. It'll scan everything, tell you just what's in it, whether it's poor up to excellent, and it does the work for you. No reading labels, even though you should read a little bit. However, that app is amazing. I buy my snacks and everything by there because we all need a snack.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. And I found some good snacks.
Really?
So
I did
it's
too.
possible.
I was out shopping recently, and I picked up certain items. 100 said 100. Like, yes.
Wow. Yeah. You feel good about that. You feel educated.
Come on,
I know how to buy my food and it's healthy. You know what I'm saying?
come on. I'm telling you, and it gives you that good feeling that you're bringing safe stuff into the house.
Right.
Because we're creatures of habit, and you don't want to keep bringing in that bad stuff. So if it's saying good, excellent, or 100, yeah, you want to stay in those areas. But nowadays, we gotta shop wisely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And stop complaining about how you're feeling, getting these colds during the cold times in the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Your army, your immune system army should be working. And if it's not, you got to build it up. It's just like any army, it needs weapons, unfortunately,
Oh,
to battle the bacteria that is accumulating in your system. And if it's not battling it, your army is not working, and it's going to fail, and you're going to feel horrible.
let's talk about that just a little bit longer. Because
Okay.
your immune system, as you said, is your militia.
That's right.
And you got to work to build your military up. Now, this is something that in every election is a major concern. The military, funding for the military, support for the military, because the military protects the country. Your immune system, as Karen said, is your militia. Now, if you're feeding your body all these white flour products, public enemy number one that will pull your immune system down or depopulate your immune system is SUGAR. It will de-employ, it will deplete your military. Sugar. And white flour products will convert into sugar.
Yes.
In the body. And a lot of these noodles that are out there, I think we talked about that a few shows ago. I think Teresa was it Teresa?
It was Teresa. She talked about the ramen noodles.
Yeah, the Roman noodles, and then Gaston came out about it. She was talking about the critters that were coming out of the Roman noodles. And Gaston mentioned, well,
critters are coming out of all kinds of things. I hate to say it's even in your body, okay?
So we got to feed ourselves stuff that helps build the immune system. So things that don't help build it, number one will be sugar. All right? Then you get over to the white flour products. You get into the processed foods. You get into foods that are loaded with red number 4 and blue number 3 and all these weird names and numbers. Those things deplete the effectiveness of the immune system. And remember, you all, the immune system, 80% of it is in your gut.
Yes.
I've got someone else trying to get in, Karen, if you could just pick up from there for just a moment.
Yeah, your immune system is very important. People, I remember doing a speech one time. It was about breast cancer, though. But I asked them, do you know what your immune system does? And people looked at me like I had 5 heads. I said, that's the central part of you. Your immune system is what our creator gave us to just fight off stuff. And there's so much stuff coming at us all the time. So you really got to know where it really begins. And it begins in that central part of you to fight the battle for you, because you don't know. If you don't know something, you don't know what the enemy really is, you need something that can recognize the enemy and fight it. So it's very important to understand the immune system. And I got something today that talked about the best foods for your immune system. And I'm going to try to get it to you all, in text or email, so that you just have some, basis for how you do that. What do you eat? Because most things to combat all these things is from your food.
Yes, that is so true.
It is from your food. Nothing else is going to do it.
And our loving creator did not prescribe foods that would destroy the immune system.
Absolutely not.
See, and this is why I'm convinced that the number one reason that's leading probably all the other reasons why there is the perpetuation of so much sickness and disease from one generation to the next is because we're prodigals. We have left home from the wisdom of our creator.
Yes.
And went and adopted a wisdom from the food industries, that tickle our taste buds, that are putting chemicals in the foods to appeal to the senses, appeal to the taste buds, get us hooked. And before you know it, as they've said, you can't eat just one. And they understand. They know what they're talking about. And before you know it, 5 years, 5 months, 5 years have gone by, you're hooked. And you're going to go through psychological whatever to get unhooked.
And they're saying sugar is worse than cocaine.
Worse than cocaine.
More addictive than cocaine.
Wow. I used to be in bondage to that Pharaoh, Karen. That guy was Pharaoh. I'm telling you, if I went past that donut shop and smelled the aroma coming out of there, it's like there was a Pharaoh calling me on my phone. Turn around. You know you want some. You know you want some. Remember the last time you ate some?
Oh, we hear that person all the time in our heads, right? Like you used to see the angel and the devil. Yeah. They're both one's on each shoulder trying to tell you something. And you're just confused. You don't know what to think.
You don't know what to say. And the devil out talking the angel.
Okay.
So we got to break loose from that. Number 4, we're talking about achievable goals. You can achieve this in 2024.
You can.
I am determined to achieve my 6-pack.
There you go.
I'm working on it daily. I don't feel like it sometimes, but I'm committed to the 6-pack. Now that's just from the physical side. I've got my workable goals, not some mornings, every morning. Every morning I have my liquid regimen goals. Every morning. No excuse, Calvin Ellison. If you want to eat, then you're going to go through this process that you committed yourself to. Least you get on a Zoom like this and be found not to be a hypocrite.
And we can do that with food easily.
Come on, I'm telling you.
I don't eat much of that stuff. Okay. You really don't need to eat any of it.
Any of it. Really, there's some stuff you don't need to eat any of. It is just that bad. If you knew and understood what we know and understand, you would see why you wouldn't want to do that. So here's another one that can be achieved. Add more collagen to your diet. Collagen is the most abundant type of protein in the human body.
Yeah.
It helps to form and promote, here's the key, healthy connective tissue, including tissues in our skin, joints, ligaments, and even the lining of our guts. You hear people talking about, I got a lot of joint problems. We have to consider the ligaments. We have to consider even how much vitamin C are we getting in our diet on a regular basis to help build these tissues and so forth. Vitamin C and other vitamins too. How much of that are we really getting in our system? So when I eat, I've trained myself to eat for nutrition and not to be dominated by my taste buds.
That's important.
Very, very important. So I'm making sure I'm getting my red, yellow, green bell peppers. I'm making sure I eat my onion like a person almost eating an orange. I have it in just about some of everything. But my point is we got to get more collagen. And one of the things that I've added, Karen, to my diet, and I really did it when I went through an episode of vertigo. I'm like, what is this? And I saw my wife go through it. And I'm like, doing everything I could to comfort her. And I went through an episode where lay down on the right side and that room got to spinning like, uh-oh, something is not right here. Got into my research, of course, and one of the things that helped to stop it is real bone broth.
Bone broth, yeah.
That has good dosages of collagen in it. Now, there's some other things that I did too. I increased, in my case, I increased my cayenne pepper, in my multi-mineral vitamin supplement that I take. I increased that as well, but thank God it's gone. I can lay down now and the room is not spinning. And of course, I was taking some, ginkgo biloba that helps out with circulation. Ginkgo biloba. Nkobilabo. I started taking some of that because some of it was a circulation issue, inner ear and all that kind of stuff. And thank God it went away because that was not a good experience. But I was determined to tackle it. You're not going to defeat me. I'm not just going to lay down and let you exist and I don't put up a fight against you. And this is one of the things that we want to encourage you all tonight about. Don't just lay down and just accept all that they say, that you got to have this item for the rest of your life. Well, now you may have to take that blood pressure medicine for X amount of time until you are disciplined with some of these disciplines that hopefully, you can, and you can, I really believe you can, in most of these cases, turn that thing around, but you have to be disciplined about it.
Yeah.
My blood pressure, go ahead, Karen.
No, I was going to say it's difficult. I'm just saying what you're saying. It's not easy.
No.
Consistency is not easy in general. You have to be consistent every single day, thinking mainly about your health because health is your wealth. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything.
No.
You can't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, so we do have to establish those good disciplines. And that's one of the things that encouraged me when I saw my blood pressure in a range like, whoa, we got to deal with that.
Yeah.
And so I've got this discipline, as far as my blood pressure is concerned. There's certain things I take, like magnesium with 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and about 1/3 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper in it. 1/3 of a teaspoon. Don't go out and misunderstand what I'm saying, you all that are listening, and go take a tablespoon. Because if you do that, trust me, seconds after you do that, they're going to be rushing you to the hospital. I had a friend of mine who did that some years ago. He's on with the Lord now. And he didn't remember the instructions. 1/3 of a teaspoon, not a tablespoon. Tablespoon. And the way he described that thing, now it wasn't funny to him.
Of course not.
I'm telling you, because we got to get these instructions down, but it's helped me manage and control to where when I get up and I check my blood pressure basically every day, and I love the numbers when I see them in those good ranges. Yes, Brother G.
Yes, Doc. You speak of magnesium. When I was listening to a holistic doctor before, they said the same thing, but he said magnesium was something else. He mentioned different, I guess, magnesium and what they added to. that will help you with certain things. Is it just pure magnesium you're referring to?
Yes, in this case, and there are other substances that are out there that have magnesium added to them. But yeah, I'm speaking basically powdered magnesium, and I get it right from Walmart.
Oh, okay.
Powdered magnesium, you'll hear it called calm. You'll see it as CALM, calm.
Oh,
And
that's cool. You send me that.
yes, the companies label it calm because
Yeah,
magnesium is a,
I got it. I got it here.
that's
I
it.
don't know. Yeah, right. Oh,
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
It has
Okay.
a calming, relaxing operation in the body. And
Should we
mhm.
should we take it at night or in the morning or
Well,
what?
I like taking mine at night so it can be effective for me because I don't like laying down with the thought your blood pressure could be too high while you're sleeping. Well, you know,
Right.
it's high at all, but
I say that because when I wake up, my blood pressure is high. So it's high as I'm sleeping. I say God is good because I was just speaking to my wife last night. I said, it's got to be something I can take while I'm sleeping. So when I wake up, my blood pressure is not 179 over, 120, or I'm like, but this is, crazy. And because I don't want to go to the doctor because last time I went, he was talking about now giving me blood pressure shots that are good for 3 months. I don't want that. I'm trying to avoid that. And I'm like, I got to look up something. And you just remind me,
yeah,
you know,
I tend to take mine at night. I like it better at night so I'm lying down on it because again, it is a relaxing substance. And three of the substances that help regulate the blood pressure, one of them is magnesium, which is a major player in it. Magnesium, potassium, calcium, and I'm conscious to make sure I'm getting a good dose of each one of those in my dietary intake on a regular basis. Again, three major players in blood pressure regulation, and that's going to be calcium, which is the most plenteous mineral in the body, an alkalining substance, calcium, magnesium, and potassium. And I'm also watchful, Karen, to make sure that my sodium level, and your body needs sodium, but I want to make sure my sodium level is not above my potassium. This stuff has got to be in balance. My
Yeah.
potassium should be higher than my sodium. Then I'm okay with sodium.
Yeah. We need to say something about sodium because most sodium that we get is when we eat out because we don't normally have to shake a whole bunch of stuff on our food, restaurant food when we go out. But when you're home and you're using salt, what I was advised many times was to use not Celtic salt, CELTIC salt, because it's more of a mineral substance than a salt that's refined.
Yes.
Okay. And salt creates a lot of problems with high blood pressure. So think about what you're eating out. Think about the food that you buy from the grocery store. Use your app and see how much sodium is in there. And then you have to look at your quantity in terms of serving size because serving sizes are very small in a lot of foods. And when you double or triple that, you're doubling and tripling everything else on that label, particularly salt.
Particular salt. I've seen a small can of, let's say, like soup,
Mm-hmm.
13 and 1400 milligrams of salt. That's enough in one item to cover your
whole day almost.
the whole day. You know what I'm saying? In one small can. So we gotta read these labels and know this because see you can't stand but so much sodium in one day. And when you eat 3 or 4 items eating out, that's loaded with all the sodium, and usually they're not going to have the potassium in them like that. You're setting yourself up, for high blood pressure. So we
Absolutely.
have to look into this and see, well, how much sodium do I really need a day? How much potassium do I really need a day? But we got to watch this because here's the problem. God created things to be in balance. Balance is the key to life. Now you can have a lot of stuff, but if you can have a good thing and get that good thing out of balance, now that good thing becomes a bad thing. You know, so we have to be watchful there. So, but if there's anything that will eat at your collagen, it's sugar and white flour products. And again, collagen has a lot to do with keeping your connective tissue, together to where, it's not like things begin to get loose on me. Number 5, and we're going to probably have to close with number 5, Karen. Wow, we never get through the whole list of stuff.
No, a lot to say about them.
but these are achievable goals. So in order to increase your collagen, you can simply go out and get some bone broth.
Yeah.
I added to my daily liquid regimen, bone broth. And I added it really because I wasn't thinking collagen at the moment. I was thinking getting rid of that vertigo. And that was one of the things that helped do it. But you can add like 2 to 3 ounces of collagen to your liquid regimen and of the bone broth, and it'll help you with increasing your collagen. Number 5, add more protein. More protein, good quality protein to your diet. Protein is the key to staying full between meals, maintaining muscle, boosting metabolism, and even losing fat. Increasing the protein, but you want to be careful not to overindulge, particularly on animal protein. The pork, the cow, even, the chicken. You want to be careful. The average person eats enough protein and don't burn it off. Now you got these guys that are out there running up and down that football field, that basketball court. They can afford higher amounts of protein than just us sitting down and not, being that active. Not that they really need to do it because you don't really have to have protein like that. But getting more protein to help boost metabolism, losing fat. And this is why now I'm not too happy with that guy who put that diet out there that tells people just eat 90% of your diet protein. Now, of course, they're going to lose some weight. But then I'm looking at, well, what is it going to do to your kidneys? Because your kidneys can't break down but so much protein in a given period of time. And it's been stated by research, the average American eats enough protein in one day to last 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah, I heard that recently too. And you don't need a whole lot. Protein and all kinds of vegetables too. People don't think that. And a lot of guys, when they bodybuilding or whatever, there are bodybuilders out there that are vegans and they have muscles for days because there's plenty of protein in vegetables as well.
Well, that baboon shows us that. I think the baboon, the monkey, some of those animals.
Oh yeah, all those big animals, gorillas.
Look how strong those guys are.
Okay, you don't want to get in their face.
Consuming all that animal protein like that. And I know what some of you may be thinking, I can't live without having my meat. Well, I still have my fish and stuff like that. But that stuff that I used to eat, I found out I can live without it.
Absolutely.
And I feel better.
Yeah.
Got more energy. And the last thing you want to do, particularly on a habitual basis, is eat steak, potatoes, and all that stuff 10, 30, 11 o'clock at night. You wonder the next day why you get up and you're hallucinating. You're seeing green elephants and blue cows and all that stuff because your blood pressure is through the roof, no doubt. So we want to be careful. That's another major thing, and it's an achievable goal.
Of course it is. Your body will get used to it after a while. When you make changes, it may take 3 weeks to a month, but after a while, your body will say, I don't want that anymore. And once in a while, you may want it and you eat it or whatever, but then you're like, okay, I'm satisfied. I don't need it tomorrow or next week or even in a month later. Your body just doesn't want it. You got to give your body time to get used to changing what you eat, and it will get used to it and help you.
It'll get used to it, you all.
Yeah.
I come from disastrous eating, disastrous diets. And it took me a little time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that really encouraged me, because brother man don't like pain. And when I see others suffering, I'm like, I don't want to go there. And it's like in my mind, the Lord said, do you want to go there? then you need to make those changes, and you need to start making those changes, particularly on stuff that you know is bad. Start making them now, immediately. And that's why I'm not swayed when I do go out and hear people, isn't this good? I'm very leery of folks out at restaurants, waiters coming to me say, Mr. Ellison, this is really good. Right then I got a red flag up because I'm wondering, what do you mean? What is your standard of good versus what I understand to be good? And if you're not careful, you can be swayed, and we're going to have to stop. Here's a scripture that the Lord gave to me when he first put me on this path. He said, don't forget what I said. Broad is the way that leads to destruction. Narrow or disciplined is the way that leads to life. I'm like, what are you telling me? Don't follow everybody.
That's right.
Don't buy into what everybody is doing, what everybody is saying about this. What is this impossible burger stuff that's coming out? The number
it is impossible.
Being struck into going out. Oh, there's a new thing on the market. It's called an impossible. Yeah, impossible for you to have good health.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. I'm almost off.
Yeah, impossible to have good health after you've eaten something manufactured in a plant.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's made in a factory. How can it be whole? It ain't whole. It's in pieces that they put together to make it taste good.
Come on. So be watchful of this impossible this and all this new stuff that's coming out on the market. You got to be careful. See if it aligns up with number one, common sense.
That's right.
Because that's one of the first things that's destroyed when they want you locked into an item where they can make money off of your health. They want you to throw common sense out the door. Don't think about it. Just trust us. I do not trust them like that. I don't care how fancy the restaurant, the building looks. I don't care how nice the menu is. I'm going to look at it critically.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hold on.
What's on that menu come in, and I got to pay. Look, that's what really got me. We really got to stop. When I found out I was paying to hurt myself, I'm using my money.
It doesn't make sense, but that's what happens. We're paying to hurt ourselves.
Hey, Doc, real quick, because I know you got to go.
Yeah, I got to get on another room.
Can you tell? The viewers? You said bone broth. Is that come in powder or liquid? What type of bone broth?
Liquid.
Good question. Yeah, in a liquid form, you can get it. I get mine from Lidl, Lidl. You can get it from Walmart. You can get it from a
Walmart. They ain't got no Lidl up here in New York, bro.
Oh, you got to go to Walmart. But yeah, it's in a liquid form, as Karen mentioned.
And it's in supermarkets too. It's in supermarkets.
And look for the low sodium one, because they do have the low sodium. I have the low sodium. I think it's under 100 grams, and it doesn't take that much. I use about three ounces of it every day. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff.
Let me ask Dr. E about the bone broth coming from chickens or beef or things like that. I'm a vegan, so I try to stay away from anything animal product. How would that affect me? Because I know about bone broth, but I don't do it because it's an animal product.
Mm-hmm. Well, if they do have some vegan ones that are out there, well, it's something you have to look into.
I have to check that out. Yeah.
But if you're getting it, you want it to be an animal that was grass fed.
Yeah.
That doesn't have all those hormones and chemicals. More than likely, you're going to be safe then. But yeah, you have to find out. We have to know what kind of animal produced this bone broth.
Yeah.
You just can't just go pick up any bone broth that's from a chicken or a cow, because the cow may have been fed some hormones and engineered corn, wheat, soy.
There's no specific brand that you know of?
There are a lot of different good brands, but then I'd go back to what Karen mentioned earlier. I would get that Yuka, Y-U-K-A.
That's true, yeah.
And put that Yuka app on that brand. That app will tell you whether it's a good item to pick up or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another quick question. What fruits and vegetables have proteins in them?
They all do.
Oh, yeah, they all do. Yeah,
a
lot of those, particularly those vegetables in particular. A good protein. One of my favorite that I've come to love is They call it a fruit and a vegetable, and that's an avocado. Oh my God, keep avocados around. I mean, we could just spend some time just talking about that avocado and all the precious stuff in it. Somebody remind us, maybe next time we'll get into that. But we got to stop now. Got to get on another Zoom. It has been a plum-pleasing pleasure, as Les Brown would say, to be with you all. Please, by all means, you all share the link. Karen is going to be sending stuff out, and tap into the newsletter that she's got sending out so that you can stay up to date. We're going to be doing our next podcast on health 2 weeks from now. We're going to go further into achievable goals. Like if you're only drinking 2 cups of water, to 3 or 4, you can do it. And how can you do it? Well, if you need some help doing it, just call me, and I will put you on a budget of saying each time you tell me you don't drink that extra water, I'm charging you $25 for me to put you in discipline. No, but you got to do whatever is necessary.
You do.
Because you got to have water. Good, clean water. And you got to have those fruits and vegetables. My point is, if you're really struggling, get help. Have an accountability partner. But by all means, if you know you're not eating a proper amount of fruit and vegetables, if you know you're not getting enough water in, you know you're not exercising, hook up with somebody to hold you accountable. The thing that helped me was watching in my study the number of people suffering. Oh, that got me right there. I'm like, I'm not going there. I'm going to make changes if I got to spend on a dime. And that's been one of the things, plus watching other people that hurts, so. But we got to go. Karen, tell people how they can get in contact with you, and I'll do likewise, and we'll close out.
Okay, you can get in contact with me. You can go on my Facebook page. That's the only thing I do on Facebook, and it's called Sacred Pantry Living. Because on that page, I have all types of webinars, docuseries, and articles about health. And you can find out all kinds of information that you won't find anywhere else. And my phone number is on there. The email is on there. And my website is The Sacred Pantry. Because we're all sacred beings, and we got to put sacred food in our pantry.
Oh, I like that.
Maintain our well-being.
So that's what sacred pantry means. Now I get it.
That's what it means to me.
Boing.
Sacred food. Yep.
And in order to reach me, of course, simply go to ellisonsconsulting.com. ellisonsconsulting.com for consultation. You'll see some books up there. You'll see information. I've got one of my CMOS customers on tonight, Brother Michael Kendall. Mike, thank you for being on. But Mike is a fan of CMOS. Could you tell us in 15 seconds, Mike, why you are a fan of the CMOS?
I would say the number one reason why I'm a fan of CMOS is because, before I started taking it, I had spinning up a little mucus or so, and once I started taking the CMOS, it's pretty much dried up, so I can feel the effect on my body that way. And I think I, feel a little bit more energy. I just need to start working out more, because I broke my foot a while back. So I need to start working out. And, I've already changed my diet and left chicken and beef and all that stuff along and, trying to do the right thing.
Sure. Well, thank you for sharing and thank you for being on. You all don't forget to like, share, and to subscribe to the Next Up channel. On behalf of Karen and I, and all of you that were on, God bless you. We'll see you next time on Next Up. Hold those smiles until I stop the recording.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thank you, Dr. E.
Thank you.